Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Real Estate in Real Life, the place for new real estate agents, people considering real estate, buyers, sellers, and really anyone who's interested in this hustle. So let's get into episode 4. Today, I want to talk a little bit about leasing with option to purchase. I decided to cover this today simply because it's been coming up in conversation a lot lately with some of my clients. We're in a unique market and buyers are really having a tough time getting into the houses that they want simply because it's taking a lot more to purchase a house today than it was simply a few months ago. Buyers are competing against cash offers. Buyers are competing against people who have 15, 20, sometimes 30 or more thousand to bid over offer price. Buyers are having to compete with little to no due diligence, and depending on your state, little to no appraisal contingencies and financing contingencies. And even when they do feel like they have a great chance, they're competing against sometimes 20 to 30 offers, and some buyers are just deciding that this market is not for them. But a lot of the times, these buyers still need a home, and it's important for us as real estate agents to be able to provide them with more than one option in order to meet the needs for their family. There are multiple lease with option to purchase programs in the states that I serve, so you'll have to check to see, depending on your state, what's out there. But the similarity of the two that I primarily use is that it's simply a lease until you don't want it to be a lease anymore. It's not the old school way of rent to own. It's simply leasing with the option to purchase, which means your client will treat it like a lease until they're ready to either A, move forward with purchasing the home, or B, move forward with purchasing or leasing somewhere else. Sometimes with these programs, the rental rate is a little higher than other rentals, but it's not up to us to decide what it is our clients can afford. We simply present them with all the options, and it's very possible that these programs will best fit their needs during these times. So the benefit for our clients is they don't have to be in that rental rat race anymore. A lot of the times rentals are gone before you even get the chance to see it or put an offer in on it. Also, they're often having to put in multiple rental applications, $50, $75, or even $100 a pop. With many of the lease with option to purchase programs, your clients will not be looking for places that are for lease. They'll be actually looking for homes that are for sale. They'll only have to pay that application fee once, and once they get approved by the program as a resident, they're able to start shopping and looking for these homes that are on the market for sale. The programs will typically let your buyer know right up front exactly how much they're going to have to pay to put down, exactly how much their rent will be, the exact amount that they would be expected to pay for the house if they decide to purchase it at year 1, 2, 3, and in some cases all the way up to year 5. So in this case, even though they're treating it as a rental, they have the option of possibly getting equity into this property. So if they've been living in this home for multiple years and they decide that this is the home for them, this is the home that they want to stay in, they can always reach out to you, have you run the comps to confirm whether or not the purchase price that the program has already agreed to sell it to them for is worth it. If you run those comps and you determine that the home actually is worth more than what they've already agreed to sell it to them for, they find a lender, they get approved, and they just simply go to closing and come back home to a place that they're already living in and that they've gained instant equity in. If you run the comps and determine that the home is not worth what it is that the company has already agreed to sell it to them for, and they really, really want it, they can agree to pay the difference. If they decide that it's not worth it, they can either decide to continue to rent it, or if they're ready to purchase, you wait to the end of their lease and you find them another home. Unlike traditional rentals, they're not only giving their money away every month to a place that they'll never ever be able to see the equity in. They're paying for a place that they have the potential of seeing equity in should the market move in their favor while they're leasing. They're never ever obligated to purchase. At the end of every lease, they either renew or they can decide to move somewhere else. Some programs have time limits on how long you can lease the property, anywhere from 3, 5, 7 years, or maybe more, depending on the program that you connect to in the state that you serve. The longer your client waits to decide to move forward with the purchase, the higher the purchase price is going to go. So you always want to keep that in mind. If they're going to be ready to purchase in the next year or two, if you've been preparing them, you've connected them with the lender, have been giving them advice on getting prepared to purchase, it's very possible that they'll just decide to purchase somewhere else if this home isn't going to appraise for what it is that they're going to have to pay for it. Of course, with these purchases, they're still competing with other buyers, but these investors are typically cash buyers, so that provides them leverage that they may not have had on their own. They're now able to find a home, have a cash offer placed on that home, and typically a quicker closing, which could definitely help with your negotiations when presenting the contract to the seller's agent. So the benefit for you as the agent is you're not going to be getting a rental commission, but actually a sales commission, even though your client is only leasing. Once your client gets approved as a resident, you find a home, you place an offer on the home, and you're binding, you're now working for the investor as their buyer's agent. You're assisting them now in taking this transaction from contract to close. Should your buyer decide to stay in this home and purchase it eventually, and they want to use you as a buyer's agent, you're able to get a second commission. Able to represent them again and possibly make another commission off of that property. If your clients decide that this is not the home for them and that after a few years they'd like to purchase somewhere else, you could represent them this time in purchasing their next home. So your clients may be like, what's the catch? So the benefit of these investors and the reason why they would be interested in doing something like this for your clients is simply because they're purchasing properties anyway. They're already in the market to buy places to lease out. In this case, they're getting to purchase a place with a tenant already in place. That's going to save them marketing dollars and eliminates the time that they spend just holding the property without a paying tenant. So it definitely can be a winning arrangement for everyone involved as long as your clients are comfortable with the fees that they have to pay, the rental rate, and what they would ultimately have to pay to purchase the house over time. It's important to note that some of these programs just strictly charge the rental rate, and some programs are designed to help the resident save for a down payment over the course of the next several years. In those cases, the rental rate will be even higher, even though a large portion of those funds is coming back to your buyer at the end of their lease. Obviously, the best deal is always going to be just a traditional purchase and to be able to start building equity right away. But like I said before, this market is very unique and it's not for everyone. If your client decides that they do want to move forward with a property that they could own one day, this is definitely something to consider, something to introduce them to, and an option to help them ultimately get what they want over time. In my opinion, almost anything is better than just traditional renting. And if this is something that your clients can afford, it's definitely worth looking into. I'll post some links below of the programs that I'm familiar with in the states that I serve. Feel free to look those up, see if you have other options in the areas that you serve. And if you have any questions, you can always reach out. So this video was a little bit longer than usual, but I promise to always try to keep them short and sweet. So please take a moment to like, subscribe, turn your notifications on, and I'll see you next week.